Some of my biggest struggles were around certainly my day job, my 9 to 5 chaotic marketing job at BMJ, and trying to balance that with forming my own yoga business, which was something I had a massive passion for, and I was really struggling to find the time to balance my potential growing yoga business, my crazy busy marketing job, and having a social life and seeing friends and family at the same time. This massively impacted on my health in so many different ways. Feelings of anxiety, feeling really stressed, kind of the physical manifestations of stress, having chest pains, having quite a rapid heartbeat. I even went to the doctors about this, which wasn't any help whatsoever, really. Not having any sleep as well, having really restless sleep. There was lots of kind of physical manifestations of stress, and as well as like the mental manifestations as well, feeling overwhelmed by life and work. I think this really showed up in my yoga business. I don't think I was performing in my business. I don't think I was giving the best service to my clients. I don't think I was challenging myself enough. I wasn't growing the business fast enough. It showed up in my day job. It was impacting on the way that I dealt with others, and how they would perceive me and how I would communicate with them. If I was constantly tearing my hair out at work, that's not a great it's not a great leader within business for someone who's looking and feeling stressed, and that's not who I wanted to be. Well, something that I identified that I did since working with you was to bury myself in work and actually work harder. And this wasn't the answer. So whenever I was feeling stressed, what I would do was go and work harder and harder and harder, and not actually putting my focus on areas where I'd have impact. So that was one way in which it was showing up. So things that I tried to do to solve some of my challenges, which weren't very successful, was number one, working even harder, even longer hours, making me sleep even worse than I did before. I used to have lots and lots of tea, complete tea fiend, lots of sugar as well, constant cake. Not that I don't have any anymore completely, but lots and lots of sugar to keep me kind of wired throughout the afternoon, so I could get through meetings and then get to my yoga class after I'd done a day's work, and to kind of see me through that. But it didn't help with feelings of anxiety and stress. What else did I do? As I said, went to the doctors. Not very beneficial there, unfortunately for me. And I think, I was just burning the candles at both ends and running myself into the ground. And the things that I tried, trying to control more and more, were actually quite unhelpful techniques. I remember when I first heard about you, Ben, which was when I was undergoing a massive period of stress in my day job, and I'd gone on a yoga retreat to Wales, North Wales, and it was absolutely brilliant. But at the time I was there, I was really suffering from anxiety at that point, and I remember meeting John, and he was doing a fitness session, and quite unexpectedly we went on lots of little walks as well. So we'd have the fitness part, and then we went on some walks, and he was just had some really wise words, and I kind of wondered where he was getting these words of wisdom. And then I asked him if he did any coaching, and he mentioned you, and passed me your details, and then you got in touch, and we had a initial consultation session in London, because you were in London doing your TEDx talk, and it was definitely beyond my expectations. Even in that first consultation session, I felt so much better. I learned so much, not only about kind of my anxiety, but my health and my fitness, and that was just from the first kind of free initial meeting. As a result of us working together, first of all, I looked at my diet, my nutrition. That was the very, very first step. Very, very basic, but just increasing my hydration was the number one thing I did. Before, I just drank tea and wine, and so I added some water into the mix. Then I cut out caffeine. That was the second thing, and I'm still off the caffeine 6 months later, sleeping so much better. Then I also looked at the amount of starch I was having in my diet, and looking at my kind of my energy levels and how they were slumping in the afternoon after I'd kind of fueled up on carbs and cake. So removing the carbs and starch from my diet for a 21-day period, and then I reintroduced small levels gradually, but that's had a massive effect on my energy levels. So I really started with looking at nutrition first of all.
Yeah.
I think the big change for me as a manager and a leader, well, first of all, my confidence in my management style improved, and it enabled me to get a brand new job, still in the same company, but a massive promotion. And I think that was really from kind of fine-tuning my leadership skills, looking at areas where I could bring focus, bring impact, and sharing everything that I'd learned from us working together, being really open and honest with my team, showing my vulnerabilities, sharing lessons and wins, driving motivation within the team, and sharing my experiences of being coached and working with you, Ben, has really impacted on how I lead that team. I think the big change for me as a manager and a leader, well, first of all, my confidence in my management style improved, and it enabled me to get a brand new job, still in the same company, but a massive promotion. And I think that was really from kind of fine-tuning my leadership skills, looking at areas where I could bring focus, bring impact, and sharing everything that I'd learned from us working together, being really open and honest with my team, showing my vulnerabilities, sharing lessons and wins, driving motivation within the team, and sharing my experiences of being coached and working with you, Ben, has really impacted on how I lead that team. My biggest results since I've done this process have been feeling happier, back to my old self, feeling much healthier, definitely improved energy levels, sleeping better, feeling generally more healthy and well. Career-wise, massively progressed in my yoga business and within my marketing role as well. So in terms of career progression, it's been phenomenal. Being able to move very, very rapidly, letting go of those perfectionist tendencies that I tended to have. That was a big one for me.
How's that made you feel?
It's made me feel absolutely kind of myself again, like more alive, kind of back to the old me, but with even more kind of goals and aspirations than I had before.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh, that was terrible, Ben.
That was amazing.
No,
yes, it was amazing.
I wanted it red.
You never.